Hey guys, how are you? It's your girl Lex, and this is True Crime Storytime, Episode 2. Fond Memories Linger Every Day. Let's go. So today's story is about a 14-year-old boy named Roshell Daniels. He was born on May 31st, 1983 in Warren, Ohio. His address, catch this, 531 7th Street. And he was the son of Nathaniel Daniel Sr. and Jeanette Jones Daniels. He had four brothers and two sisters. He also played basketball for the Red and White Market team, and he also played in Lordstown for the Blue Devils. Many say that he was a very outspoken kid and he drew very well. He was into sports, he was into cars, he was into music. He was a normal 14-year-old boy. The summer of 1997, Rochell's father and mother, Nathaniel and Jeanette, and another young lady, was in the car when they were heading back to the Daniels residence when a car creeped up beside the van and shot at it 8 times. I don't it never was disclosed why or what happened. That event just happened. A couple months after that event, another incident happened where the Daniels residence was shot up multiple times, probably like 7 shots, including shooting up a car that was parked at their house, which came to be the son of Nathaniel Daniels Sr., Jr., his girlfriend's car, who didn't want to be named. There was no arrest, no one was looked into for the incident on both occasions, but there was an ongoing feud with Senior and also Michael Ellen 21 and Abdul Freeman 21, which made Senior, Junior, and Rochelle believe that they were the ones responsible for what happened. Now, February 2nd of 98, on a Tuesday around 7 p.m., Roshell Daniels and Marlon Jones, which is cousins, first cousins, they were riding around in Rochelle's father's blue cutlass, in his blue cutlass, just enjoying the times, enjoying the days. And as they're driving, they spot Abdul and they spot Michael. Now, they both were driving in a Cadillac, so they're moving forward and they see them, so they're now coming this way. Okay, they're going down Todd, turning onto West Market. And once they hit on West Market, they level up with each other. Now they're like this. It's Michael, Abdul, Rochelle, Marlon. Okay. So when they're both talking outside of the doors, it's Rochelle talking to them, but it's Abdul and Michael. You follow me? I don't need to ask. So when that's happening, they were going 5 miles per hour talking. Now it was alleged that Rochelle was very frustrated with the whole scenery because I feel like y'all are the reason why these incidents happened and all this and all that. And he got frustrated to the point he was about to throw an ashtray. Then Abdul chimed in and said, "Listen, I'm just with him. I have nothing to do with what's going on. You're my cousin talking to Rochelle. So I have nothing to do with anything. I'm just with him, you know?" And with that being said, it frustrated Rochelle. What can we say? We can't expect anybody to respond or react a certain way. Everyone's different. So he became frustrated and pretended like he was going to throw the ashtray at the Cadillac. Now, Abdul stated that once he did that, he leaned back into the car and he seen Michael pull out the gun and he ducked his head. And 4 shots were let off at the cutlass, the blue cutlass with Rochelle and Marlon, and they zoomed off, going onto Highland Street, all the way down, cutting up a street to get to Todd, and driving all the way down Todd to get to the Jamestown Village apartments. Okay, guys, sped off, zoom, 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 gone, just like that, zoom, zoom, zoom. Now, after that happened, Marlon pulls Rochelle to the passenger side because Rochelle, he can't drive no more. He has been shot. He's been shot. So he doesn't take Roshell directly to the hospital. He takes him back to 7th Street to his home. Roshell didn't get back to the he didn't go to the hospital, sorry. He didn't go to the hospital for like an hour and 45 minutes, guys. Damn near 2 hours. Okay? He didn't get to the hospital within 2 hours. And when he got there, sad to say, he was pronounced dead at 8:50 p.m. Hold on, I gotta smoke my blunt. Dr. Humphreys makes many statements, and one included that if Roshell was taken directly to the hospital, his chances of survival would have been excellent, a lot greater than what they were. The Daniels family, after hearing the news, happened to see everything. They were filled with sadness and an overwhelming feeling. A couple hours later that same day, Thomas Dyson, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, but Thomas Dyson, 22, he came over with many other associated friends with the Daniels family to, make, lending a lending heart. After someone dies, a lot of people come to your house. And that's honestly what it was. Now, during this engagement, Senior stated that he felt as if this person, it wasn't stated who, but this certain person was responsible for his child's death. Several other people agreed with him. Now, on the other hand, Thomas, he, the person that they was accusing was Thomas's friend. So he came on defense of his friend, stating like, no, I don't think that he would have did that. I don't think he did that. It's not him. It's not him. Now, understanding a grieving person, let alone a grieving parent, you you should, that this wasn't, I understand that you want to defend your friend, but at that very time it's just like it's best if you just, because you never know how a person will react. Just like I told you before, you can't tell somebody how to react or anything like that. So with him coming defense of his friend, his senior decides to tell him that he needs to leave. This leave. Now I don't know what transpired between that period. What triggered senior for him to up the gun and shoot Thomas multiple times in the abdomen. In the abdomen, guys. To the point he was transported by a friend to the hospital. He survived. Thank God he survived. But wow, that's a grieving parent. Nathaniel Daniels Sr., he was not charged with the shooting of Thomas Dyson, and they declared it as self-defense. Although the police did not charge anyone for the murder of Roshell Daniels, they did arrest two men, Michael Allen Jr., 21, and Abdul Freeman, 21. Michael's bond was at $200,000 and Abdul's was at $50,000. Now they sat in jail for in jail for a while, awaiting the indictments that the grand jury was going to give. Now, guys, this one it gets juicy. When a grand jury places their indictments out with the labels and who is who, Abdul Freeman was charged for the murder and being the trigger man in the case. Now, Michael, and Abdul's his thing went past 50,000. He was at $250,000 of a bond. Now, Michael, his bond got knocked down to 15,000. Michael Ellens Jr., his charges ended up getting dismissed after he pleaded guilty and also put in to be an informant and testify against Freeman. So he got out. Now, while Abdul's in jail, he did make multiple statements stating that he had nothing to do with anything. He was not the trigger man, and also that he did sell his 45 Beretta the wake of the shooting. So the wake as in the beginning of the next day after the shooting. He did sell his gun because he knew a 45 was used in the murder. So he decides to get rid of his 45. Instead of just getting it tested and just show that it wasn't your gun fired, he just sold it. So right then and there, it made police obviously you look guilty. After Michael was released a week later, he ends up going to a club called the Stallion, the Golden Stallion. Okay, guys, and it was approximately probably like 2:30 a.m. when a dispatcher received calls calling for help from the bar. Now, one witness said that he did not want to be named. He stated that they were walking out of the bar when a car rolled up and began to shoot at Michael. Michael then runs back into the bar with everyone else, and passenger, once the car ride past, he comes back out and he jumps in the car with someone, and they take him to the nearest hospital. Now, it was indicated later on in the story that the person that fired the shots was Darius Simmons. He was a cousin of Abdul Freeman, and obviously we already know why Michael got shot. We don't condone it. We don't condone it. But now back to Abdul. Abdul faces the death penalty if he is charged for the murder of Roshell Daniels. Okay, guys? Understand that. And he also faces a gun charge, which is an additional 3 years. So however many years he's going to get for the murder, add on 3 more years. So let's go. Let's see how the outcome is. July 13th, 98, Monday morning hearing for Abdul Freeman. He was asked multiple questions, yes or no questions, from Judge Logan, and he also read him his rights. Now, during the proceedings, they asked if he had anything to say, if he wanted anything to say to everyone or anything like that. He talked to his lawyer for a minute before he gave a yes or a no, and then he finally just denied saying anything. His mother, Jeanette Freeman, grew agitated, throwing her hands up like, come on, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know if she was doing that at the fact that he didn't want to say anything, defend himself, or she was just frustrated with the whole case, because once again, Abdul was Rochell's second cousin. So it was a hard give and take what to believe and everything like that. And she was a mother and she's standing with her son. Now, as the murder trial begins, jury selection starts. But then it soon becomes on hold when the prosecutor and also the assistant defense attorneys had to go into chambers and talk to Judge Logan for a minute. Now, prosecutor, I keep messing up the prosecutioner Dixon had decided to offer him Abdul Freeman a lesser charge than the murder charge that he's considering right now. We're gonna knock it down to manslaughter if you plead guilty to the case. Prosecutioner Dickens, he felt as if he had the case nailed down. He had multiple witnesses, including Michael Allen Jr. and Marlon Jones, that was in the car with Rochelle at the time, that labeled him the triggerman and also picked him out of a lineup. So he felt as if like it was over with. You told us about your 45 Beretta, and a 45 was taken out of Rochelle. Everything was just lining up for Abdul at the end of the day. Abdul pleads guilty because, as anybody would, they would take the manslaughter charge before the first-degree murder, second-degree murder. And he was sentenced to 7 years with the additional 3 years being charged for the gun. And his mother soon later on, she files a motion and on behalf of him, stating that she felt as if her son was pressured into taking this, like police telling him that he has no case, like everything points to you, you cannot make anything lesser on you, you know what I'm saying, you saying that you didn't do it, that's not enough, basically. And she filed a motion, and sadly the motion wasn't granted, and he had to sit his time down and do his time. Now, the Freeman family did make a statement hoping that Michael and Marlon will take back their testimonies and tell the truth of what happened so the grand jury would rule and see that Abdul Freeman wasn't the trigger man. He did not kill Rochelle Daniels. Now, Michael Allen Jr. After being shot at the Golden Stallion, he caught a ride and he was transported to the hospital where he was soon arrested, and he had to sit down for the obstruction of justice, the gun, and also the cocaine in weed that he had. He served additional 2 years at the most, and after that, he was just out. So he only got 2 years out of the whole story. Now, my source say that Abdul, he did fabricate a little bit in his story, but he did not kill Roshell Daniels. He felt as if he should have spoke more and told the story for what it was, but he didn't want to consider himself snitching or even think about it. So at the end of the day, he got the short end of the stick, and that's just what it was. Now, I did get Rochell's current energy for what was going on, and he says that he's not suffering in silence anymore, and he doesn't mind the story being told, and he he let go of everything, and also that he did know what love was before he left, and he'll do it all over again. And I just have to say, I have to leave it on that note because I thought that was the most beautiful thing ever. Because that's one thing he kept highlighting about it was during his life he did have love and he was loved, and he'll do all over again. So yeah, that was the story of Roshell Daniels, the 14-year-old boy, and I hope you liked it. Stay tuned for the next video. Bye guys.